I'm not an African goddess black woman.
Oh, snap. Plots are about as loose as the kids with their gender ideologies. If you only had one shot, would you take it?
One moment.
You only had one moment.
Are we going to do it? Are we going 8 Mile right now? Are we to seize everything you ever wanted? My man's is avoiding the couch like a mother right now. So Blue Shift Tryouts is the story of a young teenage boy. His name is Zephyr Arlen. And this is the first day that he is being allowed to attend a normal, quote unquote, school. Because his family has a secret. His family's secret is there are exets involved, and he is one of them. If the comic book industry is to survive, you need to inject some youth into that. You need to inject some younger readers.
Welcome to another episode of Icon Presents. Today I am joined by the creator and writer of a new story coming to you from Rippaverse Comics titled Blue Shift Tryouts. Ladies and gentlemen, Icon Presents Andrew Rodriguez.
My name is Zephyr Arlen, and I'm doing something stupid. My family, we've got a secret, and I've never been allowed to attend normal school before now because of it. Mom and Dad say high school can be a bit of a culture shock, but how bad can it really be? After all, getting up to speed is something I do best. I know they're worried, but I can be careful. Only time will tell if this is the worst idea ever. Oh, sparks and bolts! Or the very best idea ever. I can't help but wonder, though, can I be something more? I guess we can give this a tryout.
Welcome, Andrew Rodriguez. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be here.
Man, this is going to be great. First off, I'm going to stop calling you Andrew Rodriguez. I feel like I'm using your government name. I know you.
That's my slave name, man. Like
this year, we got NDA Andrew in the building. You got the Dooku man himself. You are here, Dookuman. How you doing,
at this point, I'm practically going to be Daenerys from Game of Thrones with how many different names I've got going on for me within like our Rippaverse fandom and stuff. It's kind of funny, actually. I'm here for it. I dig it.
Oh man, this is about to be a straight vibe. I'm looking forward to getting into your story, Blue Shift Tryouts. I know we're wrapping up on the campaign for that one and getting that out to the people, and that's going to be so much fun. I know that's like your first like big breakout project in this sense, right?
It's my short story debut. So this is it. We'll get into it, but like Ripazine 5, the 5th issue of our magazine that we put out, which always features a short story somewhere between 10 and 16 pages. I have the blessing and honor and privilege of having my short story and the character I created and the story I wrote debuting in Ripazine number 5, the 5th issue. But prior to that, I've written a 1-page like comic strip in each of the prior issues. I think with the exception of Ripazine 3, it was just like a 3 or 4 panel strip. We were trying something different, and then we sent out a survey, a post Ripazine survey, and asked people like, hey, what did you love about this issue? What didn't you like about this issue? What would you like to see more of? Things like that. And they were like, why is this strip only like 3 or 4 panels and not a full page anymore? And we were like, okay, I guess we're going back to full page. But it's just like a silly tongue-in-cheek. We call it the pigeon verse. It just follows. It's called a bird's eye view. It's meant to be very tongue-in-cheek. It follows a pigeon either looking at different events that happen in our books, or the pigeon going on kind of his own escapades throughout the city of Flores Park, Texas, which is kind of like that's like our Gotham or our Metropolis or our whatever, right? Like our main city that we have a lot of this stuff happen in the Rippaverse out of. But people were like, hey, why is this not a full page anymore? We're like, okay, all right, we'll go back to a full page. But people let us know if they want more of Blue Shift, or if they just say, stick to your pigeons, boy.
Stick to your pigeons is funny. Okay, so let's talk. So there's so much that I want to get into with you. But I think we need to establish who you are first. and what is the Rippaverse really, and kind of like your journey for that. That way we can get into the fun stuff, but we need to establish the foundation. So give me a little bit about your background.
Man, that is about as multifaceted of a question as it gets. My name's Andrew Rodriguez. I am the social media manager, the creative manager, one of our lead editors, and now, I guess, as long as people want more of it, a writer over at the Rippaverse. And so I've been working with Eric July, our founder and CEO at the Rippaverse, for a handful of years now. I actually started prior to the launch of the Rippaverse. So I have been doing social media management and content curation on his YouTube channel since November of 2021, I want to say.
Okay.
So I'd been doing it for about 7 or so months. I can't math. Alex is our math guy. Like, he deals with numbers. He's the bean counter. I don't have to worry about numbers. That's not my problem. Go bug
that sounded
him.
Racist for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yes, I mean, he's actually, believe it or not, whiter than I am. So I don't know. Really, it's not my problem. It's his issue to deal with. But yeah, I've been doing social media management and content curation for Eric, and he had initially said to me, like, hey, like, I'm going to be launching this other thing, that other thing being the Rippaverse, at some point in the following year. Depending on how that goes, maybe there'll be a place for you full time. At the time, it was just like kind of a side gig, right? It was a part-time thing on top of my retail management work that I was doing. And, then we launched the Rippaverse in July of 2022, and ISOM 1 made $3.7 million, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who would have thought? Who would have saw that coming?
Not
nobody.
Me, not Eric, I don't think anyone.
Dude, that's life-changing.
You've got no idea, man. Like, I'd been doing retail management for several years.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I'd worked for a couple of companies. And retail management, I mean, it paid the bills. Like, whatever pays your bills and allows you to feed your family, if you have that and you have a roof over your head, that's a blessing. Whether you love your job or not, like, the truth of the matter is the vast majority of people will never love their jobs.
Right.
But their job allows them to put food on the table for their families and themselves and have a roof over their heads. And that's more than a lot of people have. So that's something worth being thankful for.
Exactly.
But retail is a slog. It's not fun. It's not something that everybody has the temperament for. It's not something that everybody wants to do for the rest of their lives. I certainly would raise my hand there. And, God bless Eric and launching the Rippaverse. God bless the fans that made the Rippaverse the success that it is, to where he was just 24 hours into the launch, the initial campaign of ISOM 1, able to message me and be like, hey, so remember that time I said, like, you might be full-time depending on how well this thing does? Like, I remember that, Eric. He's like, yeah, kind of, I need that, like, now.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, okay, fine, cool. Like, I'll tell my job, like, see ya. Bye.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been real. I don't know about real fun, but, like, see ya.
I know, right? Hey, man, man, getting that call and being able to, know that, like, Ben, you are now about to be able to take an opportunity that nobody could have seen coming, and is basically this blessing has been bestowed upon you. It is like, yo, what is that? I want to ask how that feels, but I know exactly how it feels. It feels liberating in one thing.
It does,
because it's
like emancipating, because like and people who have worked retail for any extended period of time, or even maybe like food service industry or a number of other things, like it kind of feels soul sucking, and like you have like, just you feel dragged down by it, right? And when Eric was like, hey, we're gonna make you full time, like that really felt like an emancipation. And it was, man, like, I gotta not screw this up, because I don't want to go back to that.
Right. Right, exactly. That's why that's what I love about it. It's so amazing watching what the Rippaverse have been watching, and watching Eric for the longest time, even prior to that, right? and then kind of seeing what the Rippaverse was able to become, or what it has become, and kind of watching the growth and everything of it. It's like, that's an inspiring story for anybody on any venture, no matter whether it be creative or anything like that. When you have somebody that like basically steps out on faith and just says, all right, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna shut up or put up. You put up, literally, and people responded to that. And then it wasn't just like a one-hit wonder, but you're able to do that again and again and again, and then build out something where you're able to take legends like Chuck Dixon, take legends like Mike Barron, take amazing talents like the Saska sisters, have them join the team. And now you guys are all working and building something that is absolutely great, and being able to tell these stories and inspire so many. Man, like I wish the best success for the Rippaverse because of what it means to creatives and creativity as a whole.
It's meant for a lot of people. It's meant a lot for a lot of people, both on the creative side, but just like uplifting their lives. Like a lot of people, like we have a lot of full-time employees at the Rippaverse now that get to be a part of a comic book company and be able to pay their bills and support the families because of a comic book company of all things. Like that's something that 9-year-old Andrew would have been like, man, I want to do that. That's the coolest thing ever. While I'm, lying down on my bedroom floor with my dad at 9:30 at night. Cause that was late for me when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
And, drawing panels out of a Sonic comic book, right, onto some scratch paper. But now as an actual full grown adult and realizing this is actually my reality. This isn't just an 8 or 9-year-old Andrew's like pipe dream. This is now, this is real. This is happening. And the blessing that is cannot be overstated. It really can't, because people will go their entire lives. And again, if you have a job that puts food on the table and a roof over your head, that is a blessing to have. And that's something worthy of being thankful for.
It is.
But on top of that, like if you actually enjoy what it is that you do, genuinely enjoy, not just like, kind of like my job some days, right? Like I've been there, know, but have a genuine passion for what it is that you do. That is a blessing from above that could never be overstated.
That is very true. That is very true. You got to be thankful for what you have. Thankful for the opportunities that you get, because especially these days in this economy and in this world that we live in, you just don't know. You just don't know. So that's why we need creatives. That's why you need stories. That's why you need the escapism. That's why you need these things to exist. So with that being said. With that being said, let's talk Blue Shift Tryouts. Now, this is like you said, your debut. So
my short story debut.
I told you when I was doing my introduction, as many times as I had to redo the introduction. See, what y'all don't know is that intro piece.
Now he got it one and done. Yeah, okay, guys, one and done. Don't believe him. Don't believe him.
We'll do that. But what I said was, I wanted to say an amazing writer, but I don't know. I've enjoyed what you've done. I don't know. But this is your opportunity. If you only had one shot, would you take it?
One moment.
You only have one moment. Would you take it or let it slip away?
Are we going to do it? Are we going 8 Mile right now?
I'm hearing it.
To seize everything you ever wanted.
I'm hearing it.
It was literally playing in the back of my mind, man. Like,
right?
I was ready for it.
So how do we feel about Blue Shift? Give people a little bit of a rundown. And you even mentioned Sonic. And I know the speedster vibe kind of means something to you. It resonates with you. Give people a pitch on Blue Shift and what inspired you with this story.
Yeah. So Blue Shift Tryouts is the story of a young teenage boy. His name is Zephyr Arlen. There's actually a lot of meaning behind that name. And this is the first day that he is being allowed to attend a normal, quote unquote, school. because his family has a secret. His family's secret is there are Excepts involved, and he is one of them. Excepts, for those who are not familiar with the universe, that's what we call our superpowered beings. So just like DC uses metahumans most often, Marvel has actually said metahumans in their books sometimes as well, but most frequently that's something associated with DC. Except is short for exceptionals, exceptional beings. That's our terminology for superpowered beings. And Zephyr Arlen is that. And he is now being allowed the opportunity to attend a normal school, try and be a normal teenager. And for someone who's been kind of hidden away for all of his life up until this point, that's a big deal. That's something he doesn't want to screw up. All he wants is to be a normal kid. But the fact of the matter is, he's not.
He's not.
He's not a normal kid. He's anything but. And so there are a lot of hurdles. There are a lot of speed bumps that are thrown in his way. Yes, those puns are deliberate. That's not something that gets shut off with me. That's just how I am. And you can expect that in almost anything that I write. Whether you roll your eyes or not, that's just kind of who I am and what I am appropriately. If it works with the character, it works with the character. But Zephyr is going to be that character for sure. And so he's going to encounter so many things that I think a lot of people, myself included, when you first get to high school, you end up encountering. You could potentially encounter a bully. You could encounter the best friend for the rest of your life. You could encounter your first crush. Like, there's a lot of things that go along with that while juggling something that none of us can actually relate to, which is this kid has superpowers.
Yeah.
And he's trying to keep that on lock. And there's something about his superpowers that's actually incredibly detrimental to him. And that's something that's built into the storytelling. And this story was born of a few things. One of them being my love for the speedster archetype. So whether we're talking the Flash, whether we're talking Quicksilver, whether we're talking velocity over an image, whether we're talking Excel, whether we're talking Sonic the Hedgehog, who is probably my favorite video game character of all time.
You and Eric, man.
And he was a big Flash fan for sure. Big Flash fan. And there's a lot of importance and significance behind that archetype for me, because when I was a kid, and I'm still kind of a smaller guy, but growing up especially, I was almost always the smallest kid on the block. I was always also the fastest kid on the block. So while I would get picked on for being small and kind of weak and wimpy, like I wasn't a strong kid at all, I was fast enough to outrun anybody that wanted to cause a problem, right?
Gotcha.
And if we were doing anything on the street for sports, whether it was like, are we doing, two-hand touch? Are we doing, some, in the middle of the street, though, much to our neighbor's chagrin, are we playing baseball in the middle of the street? Not a very wide street, mind you. So it's like, don't hit the neighbor's car, please, right? I was wanted on teams because I was fast.
Okay.
And so speed is something that I always kind of like connected with because of that. And speedsters, especially, there's something to the imagery of it. There's a freedom that I find, because I ran varsity track in high school. I ran varsity cross country in high school. I played soccer for just about a decade, from grade school through, I believe, my sophomore year in high school, before focusing on track and cross country. And I played that sport because I love to run. There's a freedom that I find in running. There's something, like the biological stuff is like endorphins are released and all that. But there's something that's really liberating about just kind of like full out running and just kind of letting loose.
Yeah.
I wanted to encapsulate the idea of freedom, the idea of liberty, and the idea of locking into one's true self and finding oneself in an action, in movement, in something that's moving forward, and tying that idea to moving forward in one's life. And that's something that Zephyr is going to just get a little taste of in this short story.
Okay. I like it, man. You said the name Zephyr has some meaning. I assume this is where NDA Andrew tells us we can't go into.
No, actually.
Okay. Okay. Then what is?
So I'll actually do a rare, like, this is not even an ND Andrew breach, because I created the dang character, so I can say whatever the heck I want or not want about it.
I love it.
So I have the power right now for the first time. It feels like I'm not having to lose my hair or get gray hair from the Saskas being on a stream where I have no control, right? And I'm not convinced I'd be a silver fox. So it's like, please don't make me go gray early, right? But Zephyr actually has a couple of meanings, but one of them is a gentle breeze.
Okay.
And that is actually meant to be reflective of the state of his heart. My favorite type of character, so my favorite like superpower archetype is Speedster.
Okay.
But my favorite character archetype when it comes to superheroes is the character who has a heart of gold.
Okay.
And specifically the character who is at their heart like gentle.
Yeah.
They don't actually want to cause harm to anyone, but at the same time, they have this protectiveness in them. So they want to protect other people. And sometimes to protect others, you might have to skirt that line of causing harm to somebody else, right?
Okay.
In the act of protection. And so there's a dichotomy that happens there, and that can cause some inner conflict.
Okay.
And so that was something I wanted to lean into, because I wanted Zephyr to be a gentle-hearted kid. I wanted him to be someone with a heart of gold. And a heart of gold means you always have the best of intentions, or more often than not, at least have the best of intentions. But that doesn't always mean you're going to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to make decisions where it's like, that was the wrong choice. I get you want to do what's right, but you didn't know how to go about it here. And so you're a knucklehead. And he's a teenager, and a young teenager in this short story introduction. And so sometimes, teenagers are going to teenage. They're going to do dumb stuff. They're going to make decisions where it's like, man, like, I kind of want to throw a shoe at your noggin right now because you're being dumb. You're being a teenager.
I got you, man. So tell me, the story of Blue Shift, when it comes to Rippaverse, how is he in Flores Park?
Yes, he is in Flores Park. So actually, the high school that he attends is a high school I created in our universe called North Flores Park High. The north end of Flores Park is one of the nicer areas of Flores Park. So he's going to this high school. It's not a private school, but it's like if there was something that was in between a really nice private school and a like higher tier public school, that's where he's going. And there are reasons for that decision, but he is definitely in Flores Park.
Okay, got you. So now you have so you're introducing the concept, and I won't say introducing in a sense of like, because you have what was the young girl in name starts with an I believe. It was in Yaira 1. She was introduced as wrote the story.
Stefania?
Is it Stefania?
Oh, no.
No, Ingrid.
No. You're talking about Ingrid? Yeah, Ingrid's part of Alpha Corps.
Yes, Ingrid's part of Alpha Corps, but the, which one? Hold on. I'm trying to remember the different characters' names. Which one? I got 2 brunettes in my mind, but so the one that Az is writing the story for, part of Saints and Sinners.
Part of Saints and Sinners, our first anthology. Yeah, Az, also known as Heel vs. Babyface on YouTube. He wrote the Chasing Ghosts short story in Saints and Sinners, and it focuses on Ingrid Valdez, who is the youngest and newest member of Alpha Corps. She's still not she's not a kid, but she is the newest member of that squad. She's Az does actually a really good job with that story. Az really surprised me. I genuinely didn't know what to expect with that, because the criticism that pops up is, oh, you just like, and I saw this all over YouTube and other social media platforms as being the social media manager. People saying, oh, Eric just grabbed all his YouTube friends, right? And said, hey, you want to write a short story? And on its face, maybe that would be a fair criticism if you didn't have the context for it.
Yeah.
Actually having the context for it and reading Chasing Ghosts, I was like, wow, like Az can walk his talk.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a really good job with his short story.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward. Fulfillment on that one is starting very soon. What is it, the 23rd?
As of the recording of this, yes, Saints and Sinners pre-orders are fulfilling the 23rd of September. Yeah, so those are getting sent out really soon here.
Oh man, it's gonna be
I'm
so
excited to see people's reactions.
That's gonna be so fun. But the reason why I even brought that up was because I was just noticing the when you come to Alpha Core, where you're going by Horseman and Zaylan and all these characters, those are more, I'll say, mature characters, right? And then as you go, like at least with Ingrid, you did get a little bit of a younger vibe, but it's not going to be like, it's not a teenager or whatever like
She's
that.
She's still very much an adult.
Yeah, exactly. So then now with Blue Shift, now we're introducing teenagers in there, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing a different world in there because that experience is one that's unique to, Avery's not dealing with teenage nonsense, right?
No, I'm not. I know how old Avery is. I'm not going to give away how old Avery is, but he's closer to my age than he is to Zephyr's age.
Right.
And so he's a grown man. He is a grown adult. And so he has grown adult problems.
Mm-hmm. There's so much Rippaverse content that I have yet to keep up with. I still haven't finished Great War. I still haven't finished Yaira 2. Man, I have a cart, and then I got it all. And then it was like, life went on upside down and all that stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, man.
As life does. As life does, man. So it's like it happens.
And then you guys hit me with Bloodruth 2 coming out now, like right in time for trick or treat season. It's like, dude, come on.
It was deliberate. We did that on purpose.
Yes, I know. I mean, I saw somebody's commented. I didn't stick around in the chat long enough to see Eric's response, but somebody had asked a question of how come Bloodruth, or like when will Bloodruth be able to release in October? So I get that. I can say trick or treat Rippaverse and have Bloodruth dropped in the bag, have it ready instead of alrighty, I'm gonna get it around Christmas time. I'll be sitting there with the holly jolly singing Christmas carols and whatnot, reading Bloodruth.
Bloodruth fighting demons and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Like we released it when we did because we wanted to be able to end the pre-order collection on Halloween or around Halloween, and then hopefully have the books in fan hands like very shortly thereafter. We're trying to have a quick turnaround on that one.
I mean, you guys have released a ton of projects, and I know with NDAs and all that kind of stuff, you can't say too much because there's questions I want to ask. I'm like, hey, you're introducing this teenage realm in Blue Shift. How much more in this world will we see kind of in that? Because I think that adds in a nice element of things that can kind of grow, especially when it comes to like target audiences and all that kind of stuff. Because
that was part of my pitch actually to Eric, because and this was something that I had the benefit of by way of being the social media manager and interacting, I would say probably most frequently out of any of us with our fan base. I was paying attention to what the fans were looking for and asking for. And I already had my ideas and my designs for Blue Shift in mind. But I knew and I was seeing that there was a call and a hunger for a younger hero, a younger character. And that's something that not just the Rippaverse, but comic books in general need. Most people that buy comic books, most people that are going into an LCS, local comic book shop, like on every Wednesday on New Comic Book Day, they're closer to my age, right? They're in their 30s or they're older, right? You'll have a little bit of variance there, but for the most part, they're in my age bracket. And so if the comic book industry is to survive and hopefully like get back to a place of thriving, you need to inject some youth into that. You need to inject some younger readers. It's the same way. It's the same mentality if you're a sports fan, right? Like you have your sports team, you have all your vets on your team, you got your starters, but you still need to build up your bench because if you don't build up your bench, then when your starters age out and they're like, man, I got to retire. I'm calling it a day.
Exactly.
Right? Like I'm taking off that helmet or I'm setting that bat down I'm setting my cleats on the bench and I'm good. I'm done. Like what are you left with? You're left with
Yeah.
nothing if you weren't being diligent in building up your bench. And that's something that you have to look at from both a talent aspect and from a fan base aspect. And so you have to try and find ways to pull in younger readers, younger audiences. And that's something that manga is very good with the shonen stuff, right? So like at least when this is probably going to make me sound old to a lot of Gen Zers, because like when I was in high school and reading the shonens, right? Like I was mainly reading like Naruto because that was still going, that had started when I was in middle school. Right. And, then like One Piece was just getting going and things like that. And Bleach. I remember seeing, I went to San Jose Fanime Con one year. I'm pretty sure I want to say it was like a junior in high school. And they previewed the first 3 episodes of Bleach, the anime, like with the English dub there. And it was like the first time like it was being shown in a dubbed capacity.
Yeah.
And so that's how old I am. But though that genre, the shonen genre, does a really great job of pulling in the younger audience because it's got action, but it also has drama and does a lot of cool things. It's flashy. And that was something that I really tried to hone in on and pull into Zephyr stories with Blue Shift.
Even with your artwork.
Yeah, Edu Souza, who is phenomenal talent. His style is very similar to some of the greats like Joe Madureira, but he is a multi-talent in that he can like shift his style a little bit to lean a little bit more into a manga style. And I told him like, lean into that a little bit when we were having our initial discussion for Blue Shift Tryouts, because I wanted to evoke just a little bit of that. We're not a manga company.
Right.
By any means, but I recognize the value that manga offers and what it's done to get, a younger reading audience, right? A younger readership.
So if you wanted to, like you mentioned, the need for sustainability for the comic book industry, a younger audience is necessary, right?
It's absolutely necessary. We're all going to age out eventually.
Exactly.
Whether it's we get Alzheimer's, we just die.
Exactly. Exactly.
Somebody else that's younger needs to pick up the baton, and as it were, and like read the stuff.
Exactly. And that's always been my big kind of, I'll say, complaint. It's not just unique to me. It's, everybody that's been observant of what the comic industry looks like now. The people that are actually looking at comics for the most part are all basically 30s and up most of the time. It's like that in a lot because it was something, it really popped off and it was influential and all that kind of stuff in that time frame. I think that, the superhero movies and all that kind of stuff, they didn't necessarily do what they were initially everybody's goal was to do initially, which was, or what everybody would have expected. If people stuck with the what's it called, the source material when they were doing the Deadpools, when they're doing the Punishers and all that kind of stuff. Like you'll hear Gary from Nerdrotic tell stories of being a comic book shop owner and having these projects launch, and people started coming into the shop and not doing that. But then when the MCU started saying basically, no, we're going to take the story and we're just going to do it in name only, but we're going to not really have that really go on. Ragnarok is kind of different and all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, now that grieves me too. Like that feeling, anytime I say Ragnarok, that hurts me, but I'm trying to let it go.
I hate that movie so much, man.
Gosh,
I genuinely hate that movie because like I'm not even a Hulk fan, but I love Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
Because that's just a good book. That's just a really good book.
Exactly.
But Ragnarok had the opportunity to be Planet Hulk, and instead it was like the clown show version of it.
Ragnarok might be one of my most hated Marvel movies, and I've seen the Eternals. See, the thing is, I know, right? See, here's my thing.
Ouch.
Here's my thing. Let's put it in the perspective of a relationship, right? If I met a girl, now I'm a happily married man. Let me preface that. I'm a happily married man. I'm about to celebrate my 9-year anniversary very soon.
My man's is avoiding the couch like a mother right now.
Exactly. But let's say I met a girl and right off the bat, I knew it was toxic and it was going to be just rough. But I decided to get myself entangled with her. That's a bad relationship right off the bat. Right. And if she keys my car and all that kind of stuff, depending on how that crazy hot scale is working, it may be not worth it. Now let's look at the other side of that. And this is how I view Ragnarok. Let's say you took a girl, you meet a girl, everything looks really nice and everything's flowing. Everything nice. She seems super sweet and all that kind of stuff. And then you're in the relationship, and then they say, then she goes crazy. Then she starts to trip out and she's pouring bleach in your coffee in the morning and doing all this kind of stuff. At that point, that's going to hurt. To me, this is my opinion. That'll hurt me more than the crazy one I got with in the very beginning. Eternals is the crazy one. It's the one nobody saw that, looked at that and said, hey, this one looks promising. No, not at all. There was not a bit of that looks promising. I said, I only watched the Eternals because I was at home sick with COVID. And I said, I already feel bad. What's the worst that I could feel? How
much more worse can I actually feel after watching this?
Exactly. I was like, I'm sitting here drugged up, feeling miserable, can't even keep my temperature regulated. Put on the Eternals and, just pray for a slow death, basically. But then you have Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok, in the very beginning of that movie, and the first beginning pieces of that, or I would say about halfway through that movie, it seemed like it was about to be a solid film. And then they get onto the War Planet, or what was it? Battle World. Mm-hmm. And at that point, it becomes the girl that gave you all promise and went straight off the deep end. That's going to hurt. That hurts.
That's going to hurt a lot more.
You're right.
You're right.
So that's my pitch on that one. But so when it comes to, and going back to my initial question, when it comes to attracting a younger audience and what comics are missing and what needs to be done to kind of get them in, what would you say, aside from having a story that's there for them? Because people try to create these stories and you got all these YA and teen stories that this plots are about as loose as the kids with their gender ideologies. But
that's pretty loose these days. This is 2025, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, quite the spectrum going on there.
Exactly. So what would you say if you wanted to how would we create keep the energy into these stories? What are we missing?
So I don't want to put this. You have to meet people where they're at when you have a target audience. This goes into targeted marketing and understanding demographics. And so when you want to meet specifically a younger audience where they're at, so let's say preteen and up, right? Mm-hmm. Which is more or less what Blue Shift is geared towards. You need to understand where many of those people who are part of your target readership are at in their lives.
Yeah.
Right. What are kind of the unifying, lowest common denominator is often used as a derogatory thing, but I think here it actually makes sense. What's something that is more universally commonplace that people of that age bracket, of that target demographic, are going to be experiencing at that time of their lives? Because if you're not speaking to your audience, you're not going to have your audience's attention. You're not going to have their loyalty, certainly, right? You're not going to have their readership because they're going to be like, you said this was for me. This doesn't feel like it's for me, right?
Exactly.
So you need to meet them where they're at. And so you need to have some things layered in there that feel topical for them in terms of I'm a high schooler. And so this is some of the stuff, whether it is a 1-to-1 or at least loosely similar, something I can vibe with, something I can connect with on some level. Because here's the thing that good storytelling can do, and that's that you don't have to one-to-one connect with every single thing that happens in a story. You just have to have something that you latch onto with a story or a character. That's why for decades and decades, so many people, regardless of skin color, regardless of whether they're male or female, didn't matter. They could latch on to a character because there was something about that character that they connected with. Right. One of my all-time favorite characters in comic books is Aurora Monroe, Storm of the X-Men. This might come as a surprise to the audience. Are you ready for this?
Okay, we're bracing ourselves.
I'm not an African goddess black woman.
Oh, snap. Y'all heard it here first.
Major NDA broken here,
that's
right?
crazy.
But that doesn't matter, right? That's just a superficial thing. But if
are you sure you don't feel like one on the inside?
All right, it's 2025. Maybe there's a chance, right? As long as there's something that you connect with a character, that's all that matters. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one on anything else. As long as there's something where you're like, ooh, I kind of feel that character there, right? I feel that whatever it is that they're going through, I get it. Whether that's a one-to-one or the way that the human mind works is, you could see something and maybe you just kind of transposed whatever it is you're going through at the time, and you connected it with that fictional character, and that story all of a sudden speaks to you on a much deeper level. 100%. That's kind of what I'm trying to go with Blue Shift Tryouts and Zephyr's story in general, in that I want a younger audience to feel like, man, like, I feel that. Like, I get that. Like, I'm there in some capacity right now. Or maybe even people like in their 20s where they're like, hey, I remember that 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So, because what I've noticed, and it's been an interesting thing for me to see, is like I'll talk to my younger cousins and nephews and whatnot, and I'll talk about, because the things that like I was always interested in when I was a kid, if I was into superhero stuff and all that, I was into the shows. I watched Batman the Animated Series. I watched X-Men Unlimited. I watched like all the different ones: X-Men Animated Series, X-Men Unlimited, what was it, Justice League, Teen Titans, and all that kind of stuff. These were a big part of my childhood. But then even growing up, even as a adult, even when I was in college, man, I used to sit there in my study hall or in the library on the computer. I'd have a screen that was playing Arrow and Flash and different ones while I was sitting there writing a paper and doing different things like that, because I love the superhero entertainment as a whole, right? It was really good to me. I was not that big into comics because we didn't grow up, like we weren't really buying comics. Like the very first comic I ever had was with what came from a Transformers toy that I got when I was a kid, of Transformers Energon comic that me and my brother got. And then like we get a comic every now and then, but it was more so the animated shows that really kind of got us into those. And so the MCU and the DCEU and all those movies that came in afterwards, we really very much enjoyed. But when I talk to people now, when I talk to younger people now, they don't seem to have a desire for much of the superhero content that exists in the world. It always makes me think like maybe that is something that just kind of passed. Or if, and then I also ask the question, because you said kind of meet them where they're at. Where are the kids at? They're in their phones. So they're in their phones. If we look at like so much, and I know the Rippaverse hasn't really done anything in the digital world right now, I would like to pitch an idea to you, sir. If I think that, and this is just my opinion, and you could take it to Eric and he could tell you like, yes, well, shut up. But you guys know the numbers, you know your demographics and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's a world where we look at what we're trying to reach people on with web comics and different things like that, and getting people connected to that. has anybody ever considered, or has Rippaverse considered at least doing projects like your Rippazines, right? Your short story Rippazines, putting a version of that on a webtoon or whatever like that, or even having them digitally on Rippaverse site, just maybe a couple dollars difference or whatever like that, just because I feel like that expands your reach a bit more. I know the value is in that physical, and we love the collector and all that, but the collector's dying out. That I feel like this is just me being ignorant as all, not knowing the comic book industry as all. You guys have way more knowledge on that than myself. But as I look at it, from what I can tell, I'm like, these kids, they stay in their phones. They want to go with that. I don't know too many kids that are going to be buying comics, no matter how great your story, how much you relate that story to them.
So I'm actually going to push back on that a little bit, because
all right.
Manga has a different story to tell, because Manga has a very large teenage audience. But what is it that differentiates that from modern mainstream comic books? Well, the stories are a bit more flashy. The stories really connect with people. People are interested in what's happening in those books. There's also the affordability aspect. Obviously, manga is all in black and white. That's a different conversation. But all that is to say, younger audiences are still very much willing to get in on a physical medium when it comes to or a physical distribution model when it comes to a storytelling medium like comic books, like graphic novels, like manga. You just have to give them something that they're actually interested in and willing to, in this economy and with whatever little money that a teenager these days had. I didn't have a heck of a lot when I was a teenager. What are they willing to spend the money that they do have on? You got to give them a reason for it to be your product, right? For it to be your story. Make them interested in your story. And that's really where it comes down to. You just have to find something that connects with them and interests them. Something that's eye-catching, something that, at least on some level, the character that the story is focused on, or even maybe one of the side characters, because sometimes that'll happen where it's like, the story was fun, I enjoyed it, but like I wound up connecting more with one of the side characters than I did with the main protagonist, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, well, that is how Yaira popped off, because the Yaira poster outsold the ISOM poster in that first campaign for ISOM 1. Eric had me go to Igor, our lead illustrator over at the Rippaverse, and ask him, like, how quickly can he bang out a Yaira t-shirt design? And like a day later, he had a Yaira t-shirt design, and we threw that up on the campaign, right? And to this day, that's one of our top selling t-shirts. It just comes down to, you have to find something that actually connects with your audience. If you make it and it's clearly for them, they will come. I
got you. All right.
But you have to actually meet them where they're at.
I got you. I'm going to take your words on that. Because I want to see this thing grow, and I want to see it I don't want to see it die out. I like the physical more than the digital, right? That's what I want. I read Irene because I hadn't read Fiendish yet. I interviewed her earlier today, and I was like, shoot, man, I want to know this story before I start talking to her about it. That's where you got to be genuine. Otherwise, what am I going to do? Ask her a bunch of generic, vague questions? Yeah. What can you tell me? So thankfully, she had her books on Global Comics. Do you know, I sat in my office on my tablet and I read Fiendish 1, 2, 2.5, and the preview for 3, right, all at that time. I'm still going to buy every single one of them, though. So, and that's the thing for me. Even if I do get it digitally, I'm still going to look at it physically, or obtain it physically, because it's one of those things also that I like to pass things down. Like, I got 2 kids. It's like, I remember getting comics handed down from my dad. Like I said, we didn't have a whole lot of comics and everything, but I never forget the comics that I do have that came from my dad. Like, I hold on to those, and those are the stories that I want to continue to buy. Like, I didn't know too much of the Uncanny X-Men stories, but I knew my dad had some of those stories. So what I want to do, continue reading those stories because it's something that, I gained from him. It's something that we connected over. And that's how it's important. I love sitting down with my daughter. I don't want to sit down with my daughter and read her a story on a tablet. That's weak. That's lame to me. But picking up the book and showing her the artwork and everything, and showing her that as she's learning how to color with their crayons, that I can show her some artwork from these amazing colorists. I could show her the artwork and these stories and say, hey, these people started off just like you. And now they're able to do that. And so she has more aspirations and everything like that. She's like, oh my gosh, really? And so it's just a ton of fun. So when it comes to the Rippaverse, you guys have a ton of projects that you're putting out back to back to back to back. Y'all just announced Blood Ruth 2.
Yep. Blood Ruth 2 just launched.
You got the 7-inch Isom figure that's out. Or that's in the campaign right now, or in the pre-order. And then you got the definitive Yaira and the definitive ISO collection. That'll be closed out by the time this airs. And then you have Rippaverse 5. And then I feel like there's one more thing that you guys you have in there that I may be forgetting. Horseman 2. That's about to be wrapping up.
Horseman 2 also closes as of recording right now tonight.
Yeah. So
alongside ISOM, the definitive.
So I'm gonna make this caveat. I'm gonna make this statement right now because this happened with Carol.
All right.
I went through the checklist of things that you guys had. By the time the episode aired, you closed out stuff and replaced them all, almost just all of them. So y'all got a bunch of stuff out for people to check out. I'll just put it that way.
We do, typically.
We just got a generic statement
Sunday.
through that. You guys did the big thing at the beginning of the year or at the end of last year where you did the whole preview thing for it. And so people are excited about it. What can you tell people that are kind of interested in the Rippaverse, or kind of like maybe kind of peeking through, kind of saying maybe not, or whatever like that, or looking for something different from the regular Marvel or DC Image and all the stories that they're used to getting, and maybe want to check out this new fun thing that is gaining so much traction? If you were to tell people give a kind of a pitch of the Rippaverse to them, what would you tell them?
So I feel like I'm sort of uniquely qualified to speak on this because I am a comic book fan. I still frequent my LCS every single Wednesday on my way home from the office. And so I pick up new books every single week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the mainstream books, for the most part, can be difficult to jump into if you don't either have prior knowledge or have somebody close to you in your life who already has prior knowledge, like a sibling or a parent or like a close friend who is like, hey, like, I know that you've been thinking about jumping into Batman, right? And so here's a list of like really solid jumping on points. So you don't have to dive through decades and decades worth of continuity first in order to at least just enjoy this story and see if comic books are even something you want to continue to explore, right? That's part of it. The other part is just finding people who want fun stories. And so if you have like longtime comic book fans who they're already like, they're used to the game, man. Like they already know, like they've already gone through multiple reboots in one continuity or another, right? They're like, hey man, I just like comics. And as long as the comics are good, I'm here for it. So if you want to check out a fresh continuity, a fresh world that is essentially where Marvel and DC started.
Right.
Like that's what we're doing right now. Like when Marvel and DC were first building out their universes, right? They're still laying the groundwork, the foundation. They're still building up some of these characters. They're in the early stages. That's where we're at right now. And so if you are an early Rippaverse fan, then you're kind of at that ground level. And there's something really special about that, because if you're anything resembling a longtime comic book fan, there really is something valuable about being there when something happens, right? When whatever, like people who were around, it was just a couple of years prior to my time, but like say when Crisis on Infinite Earths was happening over at DC, that was a big deal. Like to be buying books on a weekly and monthly basis at that time was a huge deal. To buy Death of Superman, right? When that hit the stands, right? There's something special about that. And I'm not saying that the books that we're putting out are like, oh, it's immediately as iconic as Death of Superman. I'm not an imbecile. But to be at the ground level of a burgeoning universe, that means you get to kind of like be a part of the world building. And there's something really special about that. Like as we on the creative side are doing the world building, the fans who are here with us this early, they kind of are too.
Right.
And so you become kind of part of the family that way. Like you're here as it's all happening in real time. And there's really something to be said about that.
I agree, Ben. And that's one of the things that I love about it. Like I said in the beginning, being able to have seen it from the start off point and watch it grow. And it's not even just like, oh yeah, I'm an early investor or whatever like that for it. It is you're watching the story or stories grow. And not all of them, it's not like, oh yeah, ISOM is like, hey, if you look at this through line, you have ISOM that leads into Blue Shift, that leads into whatever these other stories are, whatever like that for it. It's not necessarily that same thing. It's not like, hey, you have one story and everybody's just working together to build out this one story. But it's a universe of stories. And you have these characters that go on their own independent arcs that sometimes intertwine. Sometimes they can be completely separate. Sometimes you're traveling and you're kind of expanding realms from Zaylin all the way to, like, if Zaylin and Blue Shift end up interacting, that's going to be crazy.
As a self-professed Chuck Dixon fanboy, if Chuck has any remote, like, sliver of an interest of involving Zephyr in any of his stories, I will scream and lose my mind.
Dude, I know it has to be.
I grew up with his work.
Dude, it has to be so amazing to have the opportunity to work with these icons, man. Chuck Dixon? Like, come on, man. It's amazing.
It's ridiculous, and I consider it a blessing. And I also consider it a learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because I grew up reading his run on Batman and Robin and Nightwing and Birds of Prey. And I've read some of his Punisher as well. I'm not a gigantic Punisher guy, but Chuck Dixon wrote some Punisher. And so I was like, well, Chuck Dixon's writing some Punisher, so I'm going to read some Punisher because it's Chuck Dixon, right? But having the opportunity to look at the way that Chuck lays out a script, that to me, like, that's something that I get to, like, I'm trying to be a sponge over here. Like, exactly. I'm trying to absorb that as much as I possibly can and be like, okay, so how's Chuck going about this? How does he lay out his script in a way that plays to his artist strengths, and still allows for, like, really strong, tight storytelling? And it's a learning process, and I'm super blessed. I'm surrounded by a lot of really great creatives over the Rippaverse. I constantly make the joke that I get to be the non-creative guy surrounded by a bunch of creative people. And the truth is, I think I'm a creative guy, but the fans ultimately, after they read Blue Shift Tryouts, are going to be the ones that are like, yeah, you're a creative guy. Or they're going to be like, yeah, stick with the pigeons, buddy. And if they say that, ultimately, like, the fans' word is kind of law there, right? Where it's like, because if people, that's the big issue right now with a lot of mainstream comics.
Yeah, they don't listen.
Where it's like, nobody's buying this book, nobody's reading this book, or the people who did buy it and read it initially for the first issue or two are like, I'm not interested. I don't like this. This isn't any good, or this doesn't speak to me, or it's not interesting for whatever number of reasons. Like, if that's the case, why would I continue to try and shove a story down people's throats that they're not interested in? That doesn't make any sense. And Eric's not that kind of businessman.
Exactly.
If people aren't interested in it,
then we ain't
guess
doing
what? I don't get to write more Blue Shift.
Exactly. Stick to the pigeons.
Exactly.
I love
Stick to the pigeons.
I love it. So, man, Andrew, it's been great talking with you, but we can't do this all day. Got to wrap it up at some point.
I could do it all day, but I understand.
So with that being said, so tell the people where they can find you and how they can get connected with you and the Rippaverse.
So I guess just to wrap it up, I'm Andrew Rodriguez, also known as ND Andrew, also known as Documandrew over on X. I am our creative manager, our social media manager, one of our lead editors, and the writer of Blue Shift for now over at the Rippaverse. We'll see if people want me to do more. You can find me all over social media. I'm Caffeinated Wolf on Instagram. I'm Donkey Bandrew over on X. I'm not really on Facebook. But I really appreciate everybody who has supported us. Not just my stuff, because my Rippazine has done incredibly well so far. I'm incredibly humbled by the response to it and how many people have said, wow, this is like my favorite design of any character that I've seen the Rippaverse so far, which is a huge honor to me because I mostly designed him, and then Kanan kind of refined it, and he went in and was like, okay, all right, chump, let's make this look like a piece of art. And God bless Kanan. He's the best in the business, man. He is the best in the business. And, Marcos Rios also assisted a lot there, but he's fantastic. But, being part of the Rippaverse has been an immense blessing. Being part of this interview, this show has been an immense blessing.
Thank you.
And everybody who has helped get the Rippaverse to where we're at, because it's fan driven. We're by the fans and for the fans. Everybody that's part of the Rippaverse is a comic book fan.
Right.
We just want good storytelling. We want to be part of something that's fun. We want escapism to be viewed as escapism again.
Right.
And the fans have allowed us to do that. They've been very gracious and incredibly supportive. So to everybody, whether you have only bought a copy of the Rippazine at a convention that we've attended, or you've been here since ISOM 1 and had bought the I Want It All bundles for every single collection and campaign and anywhere in between, thank you. You are valued. We appreciate you so much. Whether you only bought the t-shirt for Blue Shift or you bought the signed copies for the Rippazine 5, or you just bought or even just redeemed the free membership copy of it. Because if you are a member over at the Rippaverse, even just the basic $5 tier, you get a free copy of the latest Rippazine. Mm-hmm. So if that is the only way that you are going to experience my short story, God bless you. Thank you so much for even giving me a shot. I hope I don't disappoint, and I hope I get to do more and tell more stories for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have no doubt that we'll be seeing a lot of Blue Shift. Just knowing your passion for it and knowing the talent that surrounds the Rippaverse, man, for anything to come out that is less than amazing, that'll be a shocker. That would be a shock because I have yet to.
Hopefully, I don't break that streak.
A lot of pressure on you. A lot of pressure.
There is a lot. There is an absolute lot of pressure on me.
Well, Andrew, man, thank you so much for joining me. It's been absolutely great, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Not a problem. Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of the Icon Presents podcast. Be sure to visit www.rippaverse.com to check out all the campaigns and collections that are going on live. Because like I said, they release things so much. If I tell you what's out now, it might change in a week or so. So
they're all going to shift out in a week.
Exactly. So all you got to do is stay connected. Check it out and be sure to connect with Andrew, Caro, the Saskas, Chuck Dixon, Kanan, you're all amazing team. Eric July leading the whole thing, man. I'm loving what you guys are doing. Check out iconpresentspodcast.com for special announcements and blog posts and everything that we have. We have so many things, so many big changes and all that stuff that's coming to you soon. So it's going to be so much fun. Thank you again for checking out this episode of the Icon Presents podcast. Y'all take care.